Hello, and welcome to Fearfull Wickedness. I am your host, the storyteller. We hope you enjoy tonight's tale. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment.
Emma and Ella had always been inseparable. Identical twin sisters who had just graduated from college, they were excited to begin their next chapter of life together in their first apartment. The place they found was suggested to them by Amy, a friend that works in the same office building. It was in an area on the edge of town, apartment 304, affordable, spacious, and filled with character. At first glance, it seemed perfect. The first few months went smoothly. They spent their days settling in, decorating the place, and exploring their new city. At night, they would talk for hours, reminisce about college, and plan their futures. One night, as Emma and Ella were cooking supper, Nicole, a girl they recently met while moving in, and who lives on the second floor, stopped by and brought a gift for the girls' new apartment. "Just a small token to welcome you to the neighborhood," she said. "It's called Seach Dug. It means 17 in Gaelic. I was told it will bring 17 blessings to you and your new apartment." A strange-looking artifact, the twins thought, with its multiple eyes and two mouths. But the long, sharp tail with its ornate markings was the most unusual. Nevertheless, the girls took the gift and displayed it proudly on the hallway table. The apartment was quiet, with an occasional noise, but they chalked it up to being an older building with its share of creaks and groans. That was before they noticed the cold. It started as a faint chill in the air, an unexplained drop in temperature that would sweep through the apartment, leaving goosebumps on their skin. At first, it was just uncomfortable, but it became a regular occurrence, especially at night. The thermostat would read normal, yet the air in the apartment would turn icy, no matter how high they turned the heat. Emma and Ella would huddle together on the couch, wrapped in blankets, making excuses for why it felt so cold. Then, the sounds began. At first, it was small, scratching noises from the walls, like something was trying to claw its way through. The first time they heard it, they laughed it off as the neighbor's cat trying to get out, or maybe it was the other neighbor's wife trying to dig to freedom from her not-so-attractive husband, the girls joked. But as the sounds grew louder, they couldn't ignore it anymore. The scratching turned into soft thumping, like footsteps in the walls. It wasn't just the walls, though. Eventually, they began to hear steps across the creaky floor in the hallway outside their bedrooms. Still, they tried to ease their growing anxiety with any excuse that could explain away their fear. One evening, Emma and Ella decided to leave the apartment and go out for dinner, hoping some fresh air would lift their spirits. They returned a few hours later to find the apartment in disarray. When they walked into the kitchen, they found every single cabinet door open. Every drawer was pulled out. At first, Emma thought maybe Nicole was playing a cruel trick on them. But as she walked through the apartment, she saw more unsettling things. The cushions on the couch had been carefully rearranged, the photos on the walls slightly tilted, and the floor was littered with small items, paper clips, a lone sock, and a hairpin. It was as if someone had been inside the apartment while they were gone, rifling through their things. They called the police to report a break-in, and the two girls went to Nicole's apartment on the second floor to wait for the officers. When the police arrived, the girls were stunned. The apartment was back to normal. Everything in its place. Nothing out of the ordinary. The officers, noticing that both girls had been drinking, gave them a citation for making a prank call and left. Ella was the first to say what they were both thinking. "This place is haunted." Emma didn't want to believe her, but after that night, the strange occurrences only intensified. They began to see a figure, a faint, indistinct shape that moved in the corners of their vision, only to vanish when they turned to look. Sometimes they would hear soft whispers, unintelligible words that seemed to be coming from every direction. Ella would sometimes wake up to find herself standing in the middle of the room, her eyes wide and unblinking, as if she had been sleepwalking, but neither of them remembered getting out of bed. Ella and Emma began to have a feeling of being followed. The feeling of eyes on their backs, watching them no matter where they went. At night, Emma would hear faint whispers at the edge of sleep, soft voices that seemed to say her name. When she went to check on Ella, her twin would be sitting up in bed, eyes wide and unblinking, staring at nothing. Soon, Ella began to sleepwalk more frequently, standing in the middle of the apartment, her arms stretched out in front of her like a puppet on invisible strings. One night, Emma found her twin standing in the living room, staring blankly at the wall. When Emma tried to call her back to reality, Ella simply whispered, "It wants us both. It will never let us go." The twin girls decided they needed to find a new apartment. "None of this started until we moved in here," Ella said. "It will take some time," said Emma. "We'll have to find something we can afford." As the weeks passed, their behavior began to change. Emma became paranoid, constantly checking the locks and windows, never feeling safe even in the daylight. Ella, once lively and confident, seemed hollowed out, as though something had been taken from her, a piece of her soul, perhaps. The ghost, or whatever it was, seemed to be feeding off their fear, growing stronger with every passing day. One night, Emma was reading on the couch when the overhead light flickered and then went out completely. She stood up to check the light bulb, but when she turned to the doorway, she froze. Standing in the hallway, mere feet from her, was the figure, a tall, slender shape with long, flowing hair that hung down like a veil. The face was obscured, but Emma could see multiple glowing eyes. Terrified, she called out to Ella, but when she turned around, Ella was already standing behind her, frozen in place. "Ella!" Emma shouted, but Ella didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the hallway, and her lips were trembling. "It wants us," Ella whispered. "It wants us to become part of it." The air grew colder, and the floor creaked beneath their feet as the figure began to move closer, its shape undulating like smoke. It reached out a hand, but before it could touch them, a deafening crash came from outside on the street. Like two cars colliding at high speed. They ran to Emma's bedroom and locked the door. "We've got to get out of here," said Ella. Emma cracked open the bedroom door, trying to see if the figure was still there. "Now's our chance," she said. "Let's go." But as they reached the front door, something stopped them. The door wouldn't open. Emma turned, her face pale with terror. The figure was standing in the doorway to the living room. Now, no longer a vague shadow. Its form was clearer, its face a distorted nightmare of eyes with two mouths and a long, sharp tail waving back and forth like a whip. It moved closer, its chilling fingers brushing against the walls as though it were claiming this place, claiming them. "Ella, I don't think it's the apartment that's haunted," said Emma. Ella took Emma's hand, pulling her away. As they turned to run, Emma felt the entity's tail wrap around her ankle, causing her to fall into the hallway table as she felt Ella's hand slip away. Emma woke up in the hospital with nurses and doctors working on her. "She's back," she heard one of the doctors shout. "Get her stable and transport her to ICU." In the days to follow, Emma was in and out of consciousness. sometimes hearing the faint voice of her sister mixed in with her parents and others she didn't recognize. After 9 days in the hospital, Emma was taken out of the ICU and became more aware of her surroundings. Her parents were there assuring her they would not leave until she was well enough to go home. Nicole and Amy came by to wish her well and to bring flowers and decorations for her hospital room. Two men identifying themselves as Detectives Austin and Dean wanted to ask her some questions about the last night she and Ella were in the apartment. "How's Ella?" asked Emma. "Was she injured too?" "Do you remember anything after seeing the ghost, as you called it?" asked the detective. "What?" "No. Wait, what did Ella say? How is she?" "There's no need to play games with us, miss. You know your sister is dead." "What?" screamed Emma. "That can't be. How?" "She was stabbed 17 times with some type of object we can't identify. So why don't you come clean and tell us why you did it and what you used?" "This can't be. It was the ghost, I mean the entity, the figure haunting us in the apartment. I heard her voice. She's not dead. She can't be. She's just trapped. Ella," she screamed. The nurse came in with a sedative and told the detectives they would have to come back. That night, Emma woke to an unusual sound, like footsteps in the walls. "Ella, is that you?" she asked. "She is close," a voice whispered. "She's waiting for you and it won't be long now." Emma, startled by a nurse entering her room. "I heard it," she said. "It's here." "I heard its voice." "It's okay," said the nurse. "Try and calm yourself. Here, your friend Nicole brought this to you. She said it's supposed to bring you 17 blessings. It won't be long now." "What did you just say?" asked Emma as she looked up at the nurse, feeling a sharp pain in her chest and stomach. It was Ella holding the Sichtstug artifact with its eyes glowing and the tail dripping with blood. 17 blessings, sis. 17 times. That was the last thing Emma ever heard.